very nice that you came. And today we're gonna do some special scenarios concerning osmolarity. And this is great. I love this example. You should imagine 3 patients, okay? And one of the patients, or all of them, has same hypernatremia. That is, first one, 3 patients. First one has 154 millimoles per liter. Second one has also 154 millimoles per liter. And third one as well, 154 millimoles per liter. So when you take their blood, they have the same natremia, high natremia, okay? Because normal natremia is how much? Tell me. Come on.
145 millimoles.
Yeah, or 140. Good. So this is higher. But the way how they got it is different, okay? So the causes of their are totally different, because the first person, this guy drank seawater, okay? So this is seawater, okay? The second one has a disease we talked about already, maybe, and we did, well, or with someone else. And this disease, it's called central and something, and the something means that you are losing lots of water. What do you call that? And you're losing very hypotonic water, or only water. What could be the disease? Tell me.
Dehydration.
Well, okay, but this is up to a. Dehydration is a very, very general term, and this is a disease where you use almost like or totally free water. Well, what could that be? And it's a decrease of or malfunction of a hormone. So it's about decreased ADH. What do you call that? Central. What is that?
Diabetes insipidus.
Very good, very good. Central diabetes insipidus. Okay, so central diabetes insipidus. And the third one is, and that's your now goal, it's sweating. It's sweating. So the third one got into this by sweating. And typically when you sweat, you always use hypotonic solution. And it could be highly hypotonic, typically at the beginning, before you get, let's say, acclimatized for let's say, warm environments. Or from the beginning, it could be there could be a higher concentration, but still it's hypotonic, okay? Yeah? So you're sweating. And now, what could be the symptoms? Tell me. So basically they got, and symptoms, I mean, what they will complain of, and what will you see over there? So symptoms, tell me. So the first one, how is it? Thirst, very good. So thirst, very good. And also, will he complain about something? He has hyperosmolarity. Very likely he's going to have a headache. So thirsty and headache. What about the other one? The second one. What do you think? So again, he's hyperosmolar, extracellular. So what's going to be his problem?
Increased urination.
Okay, very good. So polyuria. That's very good. So polyuria. And what about other? What about other problems?
Thirst.
Yes, again, of course, thirst. I will keep the colors. Try to thirst. And what else? What else? Will he have a headache? Why not? He can have a headache. And one more thing, if you're losing water a lot over here, so what? Will you start a reaction response to it somehow? If you have hypovolemia, typically what do you start? You start the stress reaction. Okay, so he's going to be in stress, very likely. Yeah. So stress reaction. What about the last one? So obviously he's going to be thirsty. Obviously he's going to be what? He can have a headache again. And will he be in a stress? He's sweating.
Yes.
Yes. Very good. Very good. And now the most important question of this exam, or this example. Which one out of these two, the second one and the third one, so the one with central diabetes insipidus and the one that is sweating, which one's going to be in a worse situation in terms of stress and in terms of dehydration? Who's out of these two is going to lose more water? And now I want you to think a bit and really think it over, and you'll tell me. So once more, the question is why the last patient, and the answer is that the last patient is in a much worse situation in terms of water loss. And why it is? Well, you have to realize that both, let's say both start with the same scenario. That means both of them have like normal levels of sodium and normal levels of water. I should put more water. Okay, so I'll put more water like this. Okay, and in the first case, what happens? The goal is to have 154 millimoles per liter of like a concentration. So basically, in the first case, I'm basically losing only water. Okay, so I will lose this amount of water. That's it. I will lose no salt, no sodium, and I will get here. But in case of the second case, I'm losing what? What am I losing? I'm not only losing water, but I'm yes, because it's hypotonic. So basically, I'm going to lose this, but I'm going to also lose this. So if I want to get to the same same sodium level as the other guy, as this one, I'm going to have to lose much more water because I'm losing also salt to it. Okay, yep. So the speed in which I will raise to 154 is much faster over here than over here because I'm still losing also the sodium with the water. Everyone understands? That's why this guy is going to be much more dehydrated than this one. This one is less dehydrated because he lost only water and it was pretty easy for him to go to this concentration of sodium. Everyone understands that? Yep. Good. So let's go back to the first one. So remember, and over here put it, this one is in a stress, but this one is in a major stress because this one is a hypovolemic seriously. Okay, so that's very important for you to understand. That's the main goal of this thing. But anyways, we're gonna go farther. So lab or clinics. Let's put clinics or clinical evaluation. So if you is there a way how you can easily say, like very simple way, how to say if someone like gained water or lost water very fast?
By looking at the skin.
Okay, but this is like not instant and not precise, but you're right. But one more thing, and this, I'm sorry?
The weight?
Yes, weight. So you can weigh them, especially in babies, when you're going to have a newborn, you're going to weigh him all the time to know how much he drink, how much the baby drinks milk and whatever. So weighting, and this is sometimes useful. How do the typically women with mental anorexia, how do they cheat on their weight? They drink a lot of water before waiting, you know. So again, remember there could be a change in weight. This one's going to gain in weight, yeah. And let's get to the normal, let's say, compensatory reaction of the circulatory system. How this is going to be with the first case. He drank a salty water. How it's going to be with pressure? It's going to be higher, yeah. And what about heart frequency? It's going to be lower in a way. Enough of water, okay. So heart frequency is decreased, yeah. So rather bradycardia, okay. Very good. In contrast to this guy who drank water, the other one loses water. So how this is going to be with the? Of course, he's going to lose weight. This one as well, yeah. But what about the heart frequency? What do you think? And what about pressure? So over here, pressure is going to be definitely decreased, yeah? Blood pressure. And what about the heart frequency? The heart wants to compensate the hypovolemia, so it's going to pump faster because it wants to catch with the cardiac output, okay? Yeah? So heart frequency is going to be increased. Yep. And the last one, it's just the same, but even worse. So here's going to be a serious decrease of blood pressure. There's going to be hypotension, definitely, and even serious tachycardia, okay? Heart frequency, increased heart frequency, yeah? And guess who's in danger in these two cases? Like if they have, remember, every time you have, this is the important message. Every time you have tachycardia, who's in danger? Any older patients. If he has a heart problems, whatever, the heart needs to run, and sooner or later he's going to have heart attack because he cannot turn off the heart. It pumps all the time, so watch out. And the same goes with hypoxia, and the same goes with anemia. Older people with anemia are in danger of MI. Remember that, okay? Yeah, and with hypoxia as well, because they always, in these cases, every time you have hypoxia or every time you have hypotension, you are compensating with increased heart rate. And this is dangerous for the heart. In case the heart is old, is, let's say, less elastic, and its coronary arteries are awful and narrowed, you are in danger of MI. Remember that. That's why anytime someone comes to you and he's old and he's in hypotension because he's bleeding somewhere, or comes to you and he's anemic, you want to normalize the anemia. You want to normalize the pressure, not to run them all the time. Okay? It's like being on a treadmill, but without any button to turn it off. That's important. Okay? Good. So that was clinics. And what about lab? Just a bit of lab. Lab. What about sodium? How is sodium over here? In all cases, we know it. It's high because it's hypernatremia. That's the presumption. But how is it with hematocrit, for example? That means the ratio between the cells of the blood and the rest of the liquid. So how will the hematocrit will be? What do you think? How this will be? Well, over here, he drank water. It's salty water, so the hematocrit is going to be decreased. He's diluting the blood cells, yeah? And even sucking them out a bit because it's hyperosmolarity around the erythrocytes, okay? So it's going to be decreased. But what about in other scenarios? He's losing water, so the blood's going to be more concentrated, okay? So they're rather pumping oil than a blood, okay? Hematocrit is going to be viscous more, okay? And this one's going to be even more viscous, okay? Yeah? So what is the reaction to it? And I mean, how does body reacts to this? And over here, I mean hormones. So hormonal hormones. So how will the body react? What hormones will be secreted? So if I'm hyperhydrated and the osmolarity is 154, what hormone is going to be released? Which one? It's going to be definitely ADH. Yeah. And is there another hormone that will be released? The one which protects the heart? It's the ANP. Yep. And then there's going to be another one which is going to be decreased because you have lots of water, you have lots of volume, and the perfusion of the kidneys is normal. So the RA axis or S axis is going to be decreased, the activity. Okay, so aldosterone is going to be decreased. In the other scenario, how will the ADH be? There's no ADH, okay? It's that central diabetes insipidus, so that's pretty clear over here. But then how it's going to be with the other two? So I'm dehydrated, so my kidneys are hypoperfused, and I'm going to activate the RAA axis, okay? And what about the ANP? Well, I'm dehydrated, so there's no need. There's the atriums won't be stretched, so ANP will not be released. And what about the last scenario? What about the last patient? So what about ADH release? He's sweating a lot. He's dehydrated. He's hypertonic. So it's going to be really high, huh? ADH. You're trying to fight the loss of water. What about RA axis? Are kidneys hyperperfused? Yes. Good. So RA axis. And is ANP needed? No. So ANP is going to be decreased. Okay. So it's except the ADH, it's just the same. But over here, because the problem is ADH, so it's not there. But basically, this is any case of hypotension. And anytime you have hypotension, this is what you will see. Decrease ANP and increase these two if both of the hormones or their axes are functioning. Okay? Yeah. Good. So those were the hormones. And what about diuresis? So how much you pee. And this one, he drank a salty water. So he has lots of water, ANP is released, and he's gonna pee some of the, he's gonna be peeing, not much, but he's gonna be peeing, okay? Or what about the other one? Well, there's gonna be polyuria, it's diabetes insipidus. And what about the third one? He's sweating, so he will retain water, okay? So there's gonna be, it's going to be decreased. So oliguria / anuria. So he will not be peeing. Yeah? Okay. What about the urine itself? Well, the first one, the osmolarity of the urine is going to be definitely high. Yeah? Because there's combination of increased ADH, but also natriuresis. So it's going to be hard. There's going to be lots of sodium in it, thanks to ANP. And potassium is going to be decreased because the RA axis is, its activity is decreased. So you're not getting rid of potassium into the urine, okay? In contrast to this, what about the middle part? So osmolarity is going to be very low, almost like pure water. It's diabetes insipidus. So osmolarity very low. What about sodium? It's going to be very low. Everything's going to be very low, okay, in the urine. And what about the last one? Again, low sodium because your RAA axis is working, so you're retaining sodium. There's going to be increased potassium in the in the urine, and the osmolarity is going to be very high. Yep. You are concentrating urine as you can because you want to retain water. You sweat it, everything out, so you want to keep it. Okay? And what are the complications? So I'm sorry?
Can I ask a question really quickly?
Yes.
In diabetes insipidus, would potassium also be low in the urine?
Well, it depends. But over here I said, over here you got RAA, RAS, and also every time you have polyuria, you are losing potassium. And if RAS is activated, there's going to be higher potassium. Yeah, okay. But it's going to be very much dilute. But the absolute amount you're losing potassium definitely. But it's very much diluted with the water, okay? Yeah, but very good question. Okay, so and what about complications? So what would you be afraid in the first case concerning heart? You are hyperhydrated, so in case it's an older heart, it can fail. So heart failure, okay? So heart failure. Okay, yep. What about the other two? Over here, the hematocrit is high, so you would be afraid of thrombus formation. Okay, and also you're going to overload the heart, but definitely if you're there's high hematocrit, okay? But also, what else? He can get into shock, circulatory shock, lighter shock, okay? Because he's hypovolemic, he's losing water. In contrast to this, the last one, again, high risk of thrombus, very concentrated, but first of all, and of course MI, he's running, but shock is the first one. Like there's a really high risk of circulatory shock because he lost lots of water, okay? Yeah. Again, MI is a risk over here in case it's an older heart. Yeah, but again, shock starts the first, and then you can have a MI to it. Yeah. And in terms of naming these problems, so in terms if we use the two things, and that is osmolarity and hydration. So what would you call the first scenario? What would you call it? So it's osmolarity / hydration. So what would you call the first one? Is there increased osmolarity? Okay, so it's hyperosmolar. And is it hyperhydration? Yeah, so hyperhydration. Okay, and the other two, and I will have to write it over here because I don't have a space. So what is it? He's losing water, so it's dehydration. And is he hyperosmolar? Yeah, so hyperosmolar, hypo. I'm sorry. Hypohydration. And the other one is just the same, but even more. The same osmolarity, but he's even more dehydrated. But it's still dehydration. So hyperosmolar dehydration. Or hypohydration, dehydration. I'm sorry. Dehydration. Okay, so this is hypohydration or dehydration. That's dehydration, okay, or hypohydration as you want. It's just the same. Okay. So, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. And as always, check the description below for supplementary questions and other materials.